Hello guys, I want you to watch this video because what the government is doing is actually a game changer if only they do what they are saying. Okay, so almost every Ghanaian has heard a land story that started with excitement and basically ends with tears, right? Or heartbreak. A friend buys a land, builds a foundation, and then one day someone else shows up with papers claiming the same land that they've bought for years or they've owned for years belongs to them, okay? Or sometimes even go to Lands Commission and make payments and wait months, sometimes years, just to get your own document signed. I mean, apart from the fraud, the double seals, the missing files, and all these nightmares associated with acquiring land in Ghana, right? But the government of Ghana is about to do something which I believe is going to be a game changer, and I'm talking about this on this channel because we've been talking about this technology for some time. Okay, 2 days ago the government of Ghana announced a plan to audit state lands in Ghana and for the first time put land transaction data on something called blockchain. I want you to pay attention, right? But what is blockchain? Because blockchain is something that we've been talking about on this channel. We've been talking about crypto, blockchain, and everything. And sometimes I believe for what you guys have heard and seen on this channel, whenever you hear of blockchain, you think it's pretty much synonymous or associated with crypto only, okay? And I want to ask, why should you care about this whole blockchain, especially now the government of Ghana wants to deploy it in our land registration and lands commission and all that, right? Right now in Ghana, land records are scattered across registry, survey departments, valuation departments, and you know, each department has its own files. So some are still on paper and some are even, I think, on a digital system or being digitalized, right? This makes it easy for mistakes and even fraud to occur. One file goes missing and someone can sneak in with a new ownership and record, and suddenly your document or your land that you bought for years belongs to someone else, and you'll be fighting in court over land that already you have paid for. All right, so what really is blockchain and why is it very important in this context? Okay, let's forget all the jargons. Okay, think of blockchain, forget about the tech jargons. Okay, let's go straight to the point. Okay, so think of blockchain like a giant public logbook or record book, all right, that everyone in the system can see, but no one can secretly erase or change. Okay, so which means once it is recorded forever. No one can do any alteration or no one can basically change anything on it. You can add something but you cannot change anything. Okay, so basically every time transaction is made on the blockchain, it is written into ledger permanently, or it is written in the record book permanently. You can add new entries but you can't rub out the old ones. It's actually like writing with an indelible ink in a notebook. Okay, you remember this thing, right? And shared across millions or shared with millions of people. Okay, so we already have a smaller system like that in Ghana, or a smaller version in Ghana, right? And that's the idea of mobile money. When it comes to mobile money and you send cash, all right, let's say with MoMo or with MTN MoMo, the network records it and you can never change it. You can't go back and change the transaction on that record, all right? Only MTN can. That's if they want to, okay? Even if you reverse the transaction, even if you pay someone right now using MTN or Vodafone or whatever, even if you pay someone right now and you want to reverse the transaction, the money that you sent will be recorded and the reversal will also be recorded. Okay, you can't change it. You yourself can't go back and change it. Maybe MTN or Telcel or whatever, they can change it because it is centralized. When you say something is centralized, it means it is owned and controlled by state or institution. They own the system, they own the infrastructure, they own everything, so they can decide to change something on the records. Okay, they can change even if it becomes public record. They can say it's a mistake, so let's change it. Okay, so yeah, blockchain is like MoMo, basically like something like that, but it is decentralized, which means no single person or office controls it and no one can change anything on it. All right, that's why people call it tamper-proof, which means you can never tamper with blockchain whenever it is deployed in an institution or in a company or whatever. Okay, so now how does land acquisition or land registration, whatever, fits in this particular story or context? Okay, imagine every plot of land in Ghana has its own page. Okay, and this page is shared in a logbook, in a public record book or public logbook. All right, whenever you buy the land, the transfer is recorded immediately in that logbook. The survey data, the boundaries, the valuation, and everything tied to this particular land is recorded in that public book. All right, everyone, the lands commission, the brokers, the courts, and the judicial service, all the departments in Ghana that have shared interest basically will see the same record and have the same record at the same time. All right, so if someone tries to sell the land twice, the blockchain shows that, sorry, this plot of land is already sold or it belongs to Kofi since, let's say, 1997. And if a staff member of, let's say, registry department or land commission decides to change anything, or let's say the person is bribed to change any history or whatever, it can never be changed. All right, even an officer can't tamper with it. And let's say if lands commission, God forbid, burns down, okay? Because sometimes we do hear this kind of stories that lands commission or some public office of Ghana or something, or important office has burnt down. We do hear this story. We don't know why it sometimes happens, but it does happen in Ghana, right? And when it happens, because the records is not sitting on one file cabinet and it's distributed across different networks in different departments in Ghana or institutions in Ghana, nothing will be lost. The record will still be there and it will forever stay the same. All right, so let's say Ama buys a land in Kasoa. All right, today she would file papers at lands commission, maybe wait months and even sometimes years, and hope that nothing gets lost. Okay, and the blockchain, the system ownership is locked instantly in a digital form and is distributed across all institutions in Ghana. Everyone can see it, which means later Kweku can't go and say that, hey, I'm going to buy the same land or sell the land twice to someone else. All right, because the blockchain record shows that, because the blockchain record will show that Ama is the owner. No backdoor, no deals, no hidden duplicate titles or whatever. The land is recorded in Ama's name and it will stay forever. Okay, unless Ama decides to sell the land, okay, to, let's say, Kweku, then the digital transaction can change, because Ama will make another transaction transferring the ownership of the land to, let's say, Kweku. So then how would this benefit Ghanaians, especially those in the diaspora who are thinking of acquiring land without going through third parties and all that? Okay, there's going to be less fraud and double selling because the record is transparent. It's transparent, it's there for everyone to see. There's no backdoor or just pay something and change it. No, it can't be done. The only person who has the key to change the transaction is the original owner. He will then transfer the ownership of the land to another person when he had received payment. Okay, when he has received payment. And also, I believe there's going to be fast land processing because there will be no more endless queues for signatures to verify that this land belongs to this or that. No. And I believe there's also going to be a clear ownership history. All right, so buyers know exactly who they are dealing with, who owns the land first. For example, let's say the land in Amasaman is owned by the chiefs, all right, or the custodians of that particular land in Amasaman. Okay, let's say the custodian chief of Amasaman. If the chief of Amasaman decides to sell the land to Kweku, okay, in the record it will show that the history of the land can be traced from the chiefs of Amasaman, and Kweku bought it. If Kweku sell the land to Ama, it can trace from the owner of Amasaman to Ama, to Kweku to Ama. If Ama decides to sell it to Eko, it will trace from that place. So we will know the history, who the land originally belonged to and when to. So you see the timestamp. Okay, we know the genesis of the ownership of the land to the revelation, if that's a point to make. Okay, so there will be fewer court cases over land dispute because dispute can be verified with one single source of truth. So I think this is really a game changer for us in Ghana. For anyone who wants to acquire land, all right, in Ghana, or anyone who is thinking of getting into land acquisition, all right. And that is not all. With district offices connected to a system, you wouldn't have to even travel to Accra or to any place just to have your document. All right, it becomes easier, cheaper, and maybe fairer for ordinary people in Ghana. Okay, so of course, blockchain isn't just for crypto or NFTs or whatever. Blockchain actually can be applied to any or every facet of our lives in Ghana. All right, so the system must be well managed, and if staff are properly managed well and trained on this very deployment, I believe it's going to be a game changer for all of us in Ghana. All right, so I think this is a good news. This is actually a good news if only they deploy. So next time you hear of blockchain and you think it's only about Bitcoin, remember it can also secure your land records, protect your investments, and bring peace of mind to millions of Ghanaians. Let me know if this is a good idea and if Ghana or President Mahama indeed will deploy blockchain in 2025. See you next video. Bye.